We understand what it's about.
There are people who are dead. They're dead.
There ain't no attaboy after this one. And this is our chance to write our part of the story.
The wheels! Ball! Goes! Touchdowns!
Like, he looks like he wants to take someone's head off.
Oh, picked up! Into the mix! Dante McClellan!
A blood feud dating back to the Civil War and 14 years of waiting. The Border War rivalry is back on Saturday between Missouri and that really flat place that is, next door. We are so excited here at the Tiger Kickoff Show to break it down, and joining us are Missourian beat reporters as always, and Quentin Corpuel, Dak Sweet, and Chase James. Guys, it's back. 14 years of waiting. What are our immediate reactions?
It's really cool to be here for this. I mean, this is the oldest rivalry west of the Mississippi River. It's been played since 1891. They've been on a uniquely long hiatus compared to other long-lasting rivalries. So I'm glad we get to be here to watch a revival of something that is so, as Drinkwitz said, deeply seated in blood that was spilled during and even before the Civil War.
121st matchup between these two teams, Zach.
I mean, it's pretty exciting to be here on campus right now. I mean, you can feel the buzz around these students, and everyone is rallying. And I mean, going to the ticket claim process, I think this game is going to be crazy, and you can feel it on campus. You're seeing like stuffed animal Jayhawks crucified around town here. It's crazy. It's awesome.
What have you seen so far, Chase?
I'm seeing a lot of crossed out Ks around campus. But yeah, this rivalry is really special. It's, when you get here, even if you weren't a Mizzou fan growing up, you know day one what this means. So it's going to be really cool to see it for the first time on the football field.
And Quentin, you've been here for 3 years covering the Tigers so far. How much does this game mean to the University of Missouri?
I mean, I think it's going to be a tone setter for the rest of the season. If they're able to win this game, I think it could be like Kansas State in 2023. They win that game, the sailing gets a little bit smoother for the rest of the season in terms of the ceiling. But just in terms of the rivalry, we've never experienced this. I mean, we were in second grade the last time these two teams played in football, and although the sport or the rivalry has been revived in other sports, there's nothing like football. And as Zach said, you can feel it, and this game means a lot to a lot of people, not just here, but in the state of Kansas as well. And so I'm curious to see how people are going to be acting on Saturday when the peak of this rivalry happens.
It is a rivalry, but it's also a football game.
Yeah.
So what does this game mean outside of the rivalry to Missouri?
Well, the implications are huge. Quentin touched on it, but this is a tone setter for the rest of the season. This is a game Missouri needs to win. And the same, looking at the other side of it, this is a game Kansas needs to win too. And both teams are on an upward trajectory. Both teams are coming in with a lot of confidence, thinking they are going to win this game. One of them's right, one of them's wrong, and it's going to set the tone for the rest of the season. I mean, you lose this game and all of a sudden everything changes in terms of where this team might go.
Chase?
Yeah, it's a nice challenge in week 2. Like Kansas, they've won both their first 2 games, and they look to be a lot better than last year. So it's a nice challenge before Southeastern Conference play starts.
3.5 generations of college students have come and gone since the Tigers last played the Jayhawks in 2011. So they say you can feel the buzz, but can you? We went to find out.
Fake bird. It's not real. It's a school for people that couldn't get into Mizzou.
We don't like KU. No. There, I'll keep it clean. We don't like KU.
Okay. Pretty much everybody from my high school went to KU. And they suck. They accept anybody with a pulse.
Have you ever heard anything good about Kansas? So I'm actually from Kansas and I chose to come here. So I feel like that says stuff about it.
Nuke the entire state.
anything honest in their entire lives. Bill Self is a terrorist.
How do you put Kansas, George?
Yo, Kansas good.
I think that's good. How do you feel about that?
You got any thoughts?
Are you going to class? At 2? In 5 minutes?
Well, I was late to class, and what I missed learning in class, I learned something about Mizzou and KU. The fans still care about this rivalry. Quentin, it's been 14 years. These fans have never seen Mizzou play KU here, coming to Columbia. Why do they still care?
Well, the rivalry, as I had said a little bit ago, it's been revived and continued in other sports. I mean, the men's basketball game has been played since 2021. They've played in softball. I believe they play in baseball. They play in soccer. So the sports rivalry has been there elsewhere. And I mean, growing up, especially if you're in Missouri, I mean, that's funny because you're the only one of us that is actually from Missouri. I mean, your parents, your grandparents, generations of families know about this, and they know about the history, and they know all that's gone on since, I guess, 1891. So, I mean, I was raised in Miami Hurricane. I was brought up on that history. A lot of people here were raised on Mizzou and Kansas history, and I could definitely tell.
See?
I mean, yeah, to reach the pinnacle of this rivalry in 2007 and have a game to play for the conference championship and eventually the opportunity to go to the national championship with 2 Heisman potential quarterbacks, and then 4 years later you get the rivalry taken away when Missouri leaves their conference, that's going to leave a bitter taste in your arch nemesis's mouth. Like, Kansas did not want to renew this rivalry. It wasn't renewed. 14 years later, we finally get the opportunity to see it play out, and it's so great that it's on campus. The fact that they did a home and home here, it's awesome. You get the college students involved. I know Arrowhead was cool, but anyways, to play the games home and home, it's just such an awesome thing for college football. I mean, this is what college football is about. It's about the students and the atmosphere, and playing it here is going to create that this weekend.
Yeah, 2006, the last time it was played here in Columbia. I was 2 years old. You're our only Missourian. You grew up with this thing. Did you know about the rivalry before coming to Mizzou? Or was it ingrained in you? Do you hate Kansas for your whole soul, Chase? Or
Yeah, so I actually wasn't a huge Mizzou fan growing up. I think I really found out about, like, I knew about it before I got to college, but once I got to college, like, going to the first football game, Mr. Brightside and everything, it was like, oh, okay, like, this is a big deal. So now to actually see it on the football field for the first time is going to be really cool. And basketball, I think last year with the upset, that kind of really brought back, like, the excitement for the series.
So you see these Jayhawks crucified on stakes, and that's kind of the heart of the rivalry. You know, it's petty, but it's amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
Living in Missouri, just the atmosphere of Mizzou and Kansas fighting each other. What's that like?
Yeah, it's going to be, like, looking back, I've watched some of the old games, and it's just, like, both sides coming here. You know, you can get Kansas fans that'll come to Columbia to watch it. People from St. Louis. It's really a clash of titans. It's going to be really cool to see.
And mentioned fighting. This thing goes all the way back. Our little look at history of the MU and KU rivalry goes back to, you know, a little thing called Bleeding Kansas. It's also called the Border War. That's where we get the name the Border Showdown from. And that started all the way back in 1850 when you had border ruffians going over to try to influence the popular sovereignty of the Kansas territory. And then the Civil War starts and we get into Quantrill's raid in 1863 where Quentin Corpuel over here went all the way to Lawrence and saw kind of the damage that was there. They left very few buildings in Lawrence from Quantrill's raid, and then that hatred between those two teams translated into the gridiron in 1891. Quentin, you went to Lawrence. You spoke with some of the descendants of people that saw Quantrill come in and burn their town to the ground.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit on it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I talked to more like descendants, but people who were very knowledgeable of what had happened. And actually going through the town and seeing Lawrence myself, there are a lot of very harrowing reminders of really dark history. I mean, there are plaques on sidewalks, on parking garages that are basically like, here's where 4 people were rounded up and brutally murdered. Like, you can watch as many videos as you want, read as many books as you want, but when you see somewhere or you stand somewhere where that kind of history happened, there's no feeling that can replicate it. It was really, I'm struggling to find the word for it. I felt a lot just because, like, William Quantrill is a very harsh thing to say in that town because they left all but 4 buildings operating. Like, it was really crazy to see in person, and I'm glad I went. I'm really glad I went.
Yeah, burned everything down but 4 buildings, and Missouri basically burned everything down against UCA. Let's talk a little bit about that game as they put up a ton of points, allowed only 6. What are your big takeaways from the Tigers' opening game against the UCA Bears?
Yeah, Bo Prabula looked really good. I mean, first Mizzou quarterback since Brad Smith in 2005 with at least 280 over the air and 60 on the ground in a season opener. We knew that he could provide elite value with his legs, and he did just that. He also excelled passing the ball, and I was really impressed with how comfortable he looked. I had talked a little while ago about making the easy look easy as a quarterback, and he made the easy look easy.
See, I'm going to piggyback off what Quentin just said in the passing game, 280 yards in the air. So let's look at who he was throwing the ball to. The receivers, they looked awesome, that group. The top 3, Marquise Johnson, Joshua Manning, and Kevin Coleman. How could I forget? And plus Donovan Ologbade. Yeah, the 4 of them, though, they shined. And Marquise Johnson set the tone early with that 51-yard touchdown, and then late, too, with another 40-plus yard pass. And just getting behind the defense and making the plays. And then getting the ball to Kevin Coleman, too. Of course, that bringing him in the offseason from Mississippi State was crucial, and seeing him excel in making an emphasis to get him the ball in different ways, whether it's end arounds or screen passes, just getting him involved. That was the biggest thing for me, was the receivers.
Yeah, I think the only really concern coming out of that game is the injuries. Blake Craig and Sam Horn. Blake Craig is going to be out for the season with the torn ACL. Don't think you prepare for that heading into the season, but Robert Meyer is going to step in and be the primary kicker there. And then we don't really know about Sam Horn yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be for most of the season.
Tigers obviously happy to get a strong Week 1 victory, but again, all those eyes on Week 2, and it's about more than Diet Coke.
We're not overlooking or undervaluing this game. We know it's an important thing to our team. But during the week is not the point that you get it going. During the week, you have to focus on execution of your assignments because you don't want to be emotional. You want to execute. And so, we got all that out the way. We understand. We know there's a trophy for it at the end of the game. Our goals every year is to win our trophy games. This is a week that we got a trophy on the line. You have a tangible thing that you're playing for. And in college football, you don't always have that after a game. Sometimes you just got to attaboy. There ain't no attaboy after this one. There's a dadgum war drum and several other stuff out there. And you win it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And I don't care who you are. If you're a competitor and there's something on the line, I don't care if you're playing against a buddy at home and one-on-one. If there's a Diet Coke on the line, you want to stink and win because it's painful if you don't. So our guys understand it. Like that ain't the issue. The issue is, are we going to be able to execute? Are we going to be so focused on the crowd and doing this that we forget it ain't about that?
So, does the rivalry have an impact on the game? A lot of pressure, big moment, 14 years on the lid of a 120-year rivalry boiling that gets taken off on Saturday. Does it change the game at all, Quentin?
Not really. I don't think, Drink talked about it in the Tuesday press conference. Like, if it's a crunch time situation, the score is close, you're not really going to be thinking about William Quantrill, right? I just don't think the players are going to be thinking about that. I think it's more so for everybody else to know because this is the most, I think, unique rivalry in college sports. But that's more for us and everybody else. I think the players are going to be focused on playing the game.
Yeah, that was very well said. I think it's definitely going to be decided. You can't say it's not going to be decided on the field, but I don't think they're thinking about the history of it. Maybe leading up to it more so, it's like, this is exciting. This is an opportunity with a massive rivalry in college athletics. But at the end of the day, once you get out there, it's mano a mano, and it's us versus them at the end of the day. And that's what Mizzou and KU are coming in thinking.
Yeah. Does anything change, Chase, the fact that this is KU versus UCA?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a more challenging opponent than last week. And with such a chaotic environment, while I don't think they're really going to think about that too much, you have to stay focused, keep your composure in this kind of environment.
So what are the keys here? How does Mizzou or how does KU pull away from this game?
So for Kansas, a lot of it's going to rest on the shoulders and the right arm of quarterback Jalen Daniels. He's been in college for a long time. His first year was in 2020 when we were juniors in high school. But he's seen a lot of coverages. He's played a lot of football, even through multiple pretty bad injuries. He is elusive. He has a strong arm. We're going to talk about his decision-making a little bit later, but rushers beware. He has eluded a lot of sacks in his career, including these last couple of weeks, and I'm really curious to see how Mizzou is going to defend him, because Jalen Daniels is the type of quarterback that Mizzou has really struggled to defend over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I mean, leads me right into my point. Thank you, Quentin. I think this is Corey Batoon's biggest game in his tenure at Mizzou, and I think that's unquestionable. After year one last year, coming into year two after being the defensive coordinator at South Alabama, and this is a massive game, not just for the rivalry, but for him. We talked about it. Mobile quarterbacks excelled against Mizzou last year. You want to go through the list? Castellanos, Pavia, Milroe, Sellers, Arnold, all ran the ball really well against Mizzou. They struggled to keep them in the pocket. When they got out of the pocket, they made big plays. They made things happen. Jalen Daniels likes to do the same. Can Mizzou keep him in the pocket? Can Mizzou get pressure on him early? What type of game does Corey Batoon call?
They say football is like a chess game, and the Tigers are playing their 121st on Saturday. Our guy, Tyson Ellison, former Mizzou football player, Cotton Bowl winning champion, he breaks down how the Tigers can find their checkmate.
Ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in. This game means war. It's the border war. What other game means war? Well, how about chess? You know, I hate to admit it, but Kansas has some key pieces all across the board. Let's start from the outside and work our way in. The rook, Emmanuel Henderson. They're going to get him the ball on this wide receiver screen. They've started both games this season with a play to Emmanuel Henderson. Why? He can get up and down the field once it's his turn. So here you'll see the defensive backs are going to start biting because he gets these short throws. Now he's got to step up the field on the defense touchdown. That's the easiest touchdown that they scored so far, except for this one. Check it out. You got your rook in motion, but if you pay too much attention there, you lose sight of the other pieces on the board. Ergo, Cam Pickett, number 7, he's going to come across the field like a bishop will come across the board on this post play on a fake wide receiver screen. That's an easy touchdown too. You got your workhorses too. Highshaw's going to run an unpredictable pattern all night, even run over referees, because he's got this great group of pawns in front of him, led by Bryce Foster, the dual sport athlete. That makes the backfield really interesting. While this ball's in the air, you've got Lance Leopold, who's a really smart coach, but he can't do much on the field, just like the king in chess. He's protected by this athlete, the queen, Jalen Daniels, the most versatile piece on the board. He can put that ball anywhere on the field, but sometimes he'll knock his own pieces off the board and get in his own team's way. Like this one-on-one ball where the Baylor defender won the entire rep. You can't fit that ball in, you'll get punished, just like Kansas got punished in this very same game. Clean pocket, tries to fit the ball downfield, except it's 10 yards over the head of the intended receiver. Baylor with the interception there. You can't afford to make those mistakes over and over again. And if you're a defense, as long as you keep Jalen Daniels in the pocket, he'll make mistakes. You see he's not carrying that ball securely. He goes down on 3rd and 11, makes it 4th and forever. So when you're scheming and you've got all your pieces together this offseason, you try to find ways to make Jalen Daniels effective and limit those mistakes on deep throws down the field. How do you do that? You use all the pieces you have on this roster for misdirection. If the defense doesn't know where they're supposed to look, Cam Pickett again can streak it all the way around the field for a touchdown. And you use Jalen Daniels' best strength. His best strength is with the ball in his hands. So here he's going to keep this option play. And just like a queen on the chessboard, he can go up, down, left, right, any direction to keep this play alive and down the field. I don't know how you scheme for this. Look in the backfield. You've got quarterback. You got dive option, you got pitch. So you're running triple option. Everybody on this side of the field has to do their one job. And then you keep watching, and it's play action. They bring the ball back across the field. So you get the entire defense going one way. You've got a wide open look on the sideline. I don't know how you play defense against that. This is how they play defense. John Kamara coming back from a targeting penalty. He'll return in this game. The whole defense is headhunters. You see they'll run this cover one, bring a linebacker in blitz. It's tough to run the ball when you don't know who you're supposed to block. They like to cause a lot of stress in O-line communication with zero coverage or man coverage on the back end. This linebacker is going to come in the blitz. It's a coverage sack because There's nowhere to put the football. Everybody's playing too tight of coverage. You beat that with this receiver in motion. Watch the hesitation. His man's coming across the field. It's going to be slight hesitation. They don't know if they're switching or keeping their assignment. Now you just outrun the defense for a touchdown. And if Wagner can do that, you can bet your bottom dollar the nasty wideouts at Mizzou can outrun one defender. That's how you complete your objective. That's how you beat KU. Now, people call this game a rivalry. It's not. Auburn, Alabama is a rivalry. Michigan, Ohio State is a rivalry. This is rooted on real-life violence and real-life history. This is a decade plus of that hatred building because there was no game. When you play Mizzou versus Kansas and you enter Faurot Field and you hear that crowd, you don't get to just treat this like any other game, right? This is a game for every alumni who came through Mizzou and learned to hate Kansas, every Missouri kid who grew up in a home that hated Kansas just as much as the players on the field. Mizzou's not going to just win this game because they're more talented or because they scheme up a way to stop Jalen Daniels. They're going to win this game because they're playing Kansas. Jacob, back to you.
Thanks, Tyson. Now you guys know how the Tigers can beat KU, so now it's the gravest of segments. Take it to the grave, where our Missourian beat reporters make a prediction that they are so confident in that they're willing to spin the wheel of misery if they are wrong. So we'll start with you, Mr. Quentin Corpuel, and what prediction you're taking to the grave against KU.
Jalen Daniels throws at least 2 interceptions. He was in a 5-way tie for the Big 12 lead in INTs last year. He threw one against Wagner. His decision-making was arguably his biggest enemy, and I think Mizzou is going to make him pay at least a couple of times on Saturday.
2 interceptions. Vegas would have some pretty whack odds on that for you, Mr. Corpuel. You're getting me excited over here. Z?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Ahmad Hardy. I know it's chalk, but he rushed the ball only 10 times for 100 yards in the first game, and I think that's the least you're going to see him all year in a single game. I think you can expect a lot of him. I'm going to go over 125 yards and a touchdown, and I'm parlaying them. So if one of them loses, because I know the odds are going to be crazy, if one of them loses, I'll take the loss, but 125 and a touchdown.
All right, give Ahmad Hardy a football 10 times rush for 100. How many if you give him 20? Chase?
I'm going to go with another big game from Marquise Johnson. I'm going to say he gets another touchdown. I'm not going to go with 134 yards again, but I'll go at least 90.
Thanks for the prediction, Chase. That's take it to the grave. What do you mean, whoa?
Why don't you do this with us?
Me?
Yeah.
Aren't you guys supposed to be the analysts?
Yeah, we're supposed to though.
I'm on the panel.
You're wearing the same polos as we are. You're a part of this.
They have a point.
Why don't you make a prediction?
Shoot.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm like you, Quinn. I'm feisty. I like to gamble. Maybe a little too much.
I don't like to know. Okay. I'm feisty.
Game on my predictions.
Okay. Go ahead. What do you got?
2 Bo Prabula rushing touchdowns.
Wow.
All right.
I like that.
I mean,
All right.
I like
14
that.
points for the Tigers. They're getting closer and run with them. And if not, I'll spin the wheel. I'll do it with you guys.
All right.
We're a band of brothers. We're in this together.
Yeah.
Okay. You know?
I like it. I like
Just
it.
like a group of 4 people on SEC Nation that are coming to Colombia for the first time since 2019. And guess what? They're ready to come to Como. Watch this.
Hey y'all, Ryan McGee here from ESPN. I am on the Atlantic coast, North Carolina coast, 1,064 miles from Columbia, Missouri. But I'm already packing because I'm so excited because Marty McGee and SEC Nation are coming to Columbia this weekend for the Kansas-Missouri game. And I'm so fired up.
There was a big debate about going to Kentucky this weekend, Ole Miss at Kentucky, and I heard the conversation at Media Days, and I told our producer, I said, are you people serious? I have been reading up on that. I've read all the books, and that's the reason why we were coming here, because I told these guys that you have no earthly idea how great this rivalry is and how bitter it is.
What makes college football the greatest sport in the world are these rivalries where there is so much emotion and so much deep-seated hatred for each other, and that's why we can't wait to get there. We need you guys to show out. We need to see you. We need to hear you. You make us better. And just so you know, Drink's my boy. I might just tell old Bo Prabula, throw that thing to me.
We'll see them Saturday morning at Carnahan Quad starting at 9 a.m. And you know, on those shows, they make predictions, so it's time to make our predictions for Mizzou KU and see if one of these guys here, including myself, gets mobbed by some angry Tiger fans. Quinn?
Yeah, I think Mizzou, as I said earlier, going to force a couple of Jalen Daniels turnovers. I think the Tigers will make enough plays late to seal a 31-23 victory, entering the Louisiana game 2-0.
I like it, Z.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off by apologizing to all the Mizzou students who I'm about to offend with this. I have Kansas winning the game 30-27. There's this thing called journalistic integrity, and I genuinely believe that Kansas is going to win this game, or else I wouldn't say it. Kansas is going to win 30-27 on a late field goal. I just think Jalen Daniels' experience ends up making a difference. I think he's going to be able to get the ball out to Emmanuel Henderson and Cam Pickett way too often. I don't think Missouri's defensive backs are going to be able to maintain coverage with them all day. So I'm going to go Kansas 30-27.
Respect the honesty, but
I mean,
I think we're done. Chase?
Yeah, I also respect it, but I'm going to have to disagree there. I think it's going to be a close game, closer than maybe people expect, but I'm going to go with Mizzou 30-21.
Great. Why is that?
Well, I mean, I just think Mizzou is the better team. Kansas is a strong competitor. It should be a good matchup, but Mizzou is just, I'm expecting them to get this done.
Well, great minds think alike. I got the Tigers winning 30-21 as well. Again, this is a Tigers team. Bo looked great in his first start, and this defense is strong. Quentin, you have had a long last couple days, 7,000 words written on the history of the border war. Can you tell us a little bit about your new series on the Missourian?
Yeah, it's a 3-part written series. You can find it at ColumbiaMissourian.com. The first part published earlier today. Second part is publishing later today. And part 3 is going up in the Tiger Kickoff section, along with the great stories from these two gentlemen next to me.
What are those parts?
Yes, part 1 is Bleeding Kansas and Civil War. Part 2 is the athletics history from 1891 to 2011. And part 3 sort of picks up the pieces from parts 1 and 2. A lot of work has gone into it, a lot of really great interviews with some very important people, and I'm just thankful to have been able to tell this because there's a lot into it. There's a lot that goes into this, both historically and on the gridiron. And so I'm excited for you all to read it. And again, you can find it at ColumbiaMissourian.com.
Well, you went back through history. We have history sitting right here. If you guys have paid attention, you've noticed this box sitting on our desk for this entire show. You might be wondering what it is.
What's in the box?
Well, inside is the first ever homecoming football from 1911 between the University of Missouri and University of Kansas. Oh. It's gold-plated. It ended it in a 3-3 tie. We'll pass it this way, starting with Chase.
That
gold
is
for a tie,
right
but
there.
still
there's some
pretty
history to this there.
freaking cool.
Ooh.
How did people throw this ball?
Yeah.
Maybe my hands are just really small, but wow, this is a lot closer to a rugby ball than a modern day football. But this is so cool. Like,
That's
this
crazy.
is so
Yeah.
cool.
That's where it started.
Yeah. This was first homecoming game at Rollins Field, now Stankowski Field.
Rollins Field, Stankowski Field, and that just talks about how long these two teams have hated each other and how long these two teams have played. And when that note was sent out to everyone to come back from homecoming, it was no mistake that it was against KU. And it's a homecoming in a way for the rivalry. 14 years we have sat shouting at KU from the sidelines, waiting for them to come back and play in football one more time. And that comes Saturday at 2:30. Thanks for watching the Tiger Kickoff Show.